Let me get a heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat. Can I get a heat check, 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 heat check. Let me get a heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check.
All right, what's up, SML? Welcome back to Heat Check. It's been probably about a week or two. I'm here with my loyal co-host, the Mad Bomber, ready to talk some off-season. What's going on, Bomb?
Oh, I think we'll skip our recaps this week. Thinking we'll just jump right into
nothing important happened. Don't worry.
Yeah,
about it.
nothing important. Everybody knows what happened. They all just watched the game last night, so no need to recap that.
And not only do we know what happened, but we'll be reminded what happened for the next couple months.
I think he said 24 hours, so we'll see.
I don't buy that for 1 second.
No, I don't either. I'm sure we'll hear about it the rest of the cycle, if not longer.
100%. 100%.
So I think this episode, why don't we just go over all the teams and what our expectations are of them, what they can do to get better, and maybe a little challenge for each of them and see how they do.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right. So our first team, it's going to be the Bears.
The Bears.
Figs coming into this season, I think he's got the number 4 pick now. He traded with Tiny, swapped out a receiver. Looking at his team, though, and we'll just start with the quarterbacks. He's losing Trubisky. Looks like he's letting him walk. Hasn't re-signed him. He's got Leverett. So
I have a feeling Trubisky will be back.
He very well could be, but then again, half of the free agent quarterbacks will find their way to Chicago for at least a snap or two. His running back situation, he's still got Dobbins 5 more years, so he's going to ride out the cycle with Dobbins. Maybe. We'll see. Who knows?
He already offered him to me in a trade. Unfortunately, it was an illegal trade, but he did offer him to me.
So maybe Dobbins won't be making it there. He did add another receiver. It was either Weatherspoon or McDonald, I think, that he got rid of. But he's got Allen Robinson. He's got Cooks that he's been shopping like crazy. I don't know how many people want a 31-year-old, 83 overall receiver, but he has, I think, 95 speed. So
yeah, he's still fast.
Yeah, somebody will probably jump on that. I don't know about top 10 pick like he was talking about, but he may get something for it. And he's also shopping Cole Kmet, but I don't know why, because that's his best tight end. And from the games I've seen him play, that's pretty much one of his top targets.
That's heavy usage out of old Cole there.
Yeah, so offensive line, he's got a 67 left tackle. He's got an 83 left guard, 66 center, 2 guys over 70 at the right guard position, and then low 60s, mid 60 right tackle. So maybe he'll add some offensive line. I don't know. I think it's been pretty much proven that offensive line doesn't mean much.
You could throw me out there and you'll be able to run the rock, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think anybody's gonna stay away from offensive line. Although somebody's got to take them. You would think not going to have 85s and 86s sitting on the free agency. Somebody's going to sign those guys.
You'll sign them. I'll sign them if they're out there. You know, I've signed a couple offensive linemen because, I mean, you do need to plug the hole. So, you know, I'll sign them, but I don't think anybody's really breaking the bank for him.
So defensively, he's got a couple of 80s. Davidson, Nichols, Lobato's a 74, 24-year-old. Left end.
Defensive tackle's in the bad spot.
Yep. Right end, he's got D Ford. Or that's not D Ford. That's someone with a D Ford. I don't know which one.
It is D Ford, but it is not that D Ford.
Not the one he wishes it was.
Yeah.
He's got Jennings. Looks like he's gonna walk, but he's got Wheaton, who actually was really good defensive tackle. So that's not too bad, but he needs to add something to that defensive line. Outside linebackers. Looks like Shaq Thompson is going to be a free agent at 10 p.m. tonight. Kyle Van Noy as well. And then Eric Claiborne is middle linebacker, walking. So he's going to come in with French, a 63, and then a 96 Roquan Smith, which is really the only one that matters. His right outside linebackers, Wallace looks like he's going to walk. And then he's got 2 more mid-70s guys that he's got around for probably the rest of the cycle. And then at corner, he's got an 84 with Sidney Jones in there for 1 more year, a couple of mid-70s, and then Johnson as well for 4 more years. So he's probably okay there. Safety, all of his safeties are sticking around except his strong safeties. Saunders, 85 overall, 87 speed, 87 zone. And because Figs was the worst owner in the SML, the computer actually decided to fire him and just do it themselves. Obviously, he got back in, and there was no way to re-sign him or franchise him because the computer decided that this guy right here, right guard, Moody, an 83 overall 26-year-old, is going to be getting $13.5 million this year because he got the franchise tag. So, what do you think? What are your expectations for the Bears? What are you thinking realistically Figs can expect?
I mean, realistically, it looks like he's missing a few pieces. Some of the core guys are going to be back. Hopefully, he sticks with his best quarterback. But for Figs, I mean, realistically, I don't think he can get higher than third in the division. That, first season playoff berth is a while away at this point. He doesn't seem to quite have the drive, the motivation to fix things this Madden. So I think he'll mostly be mailing it in till Madden 22.
Yeah, I'm thinking realistically, I think probably 4 wins. That's probably where he'll be, right around 4 wins. As far as the draft, man, I don't know. It's not like his team is that bad. I would probably try and add some type of playmaker on defense. Obviously, he's got to get a strong safety. So maybe one of those strong safeties that had a draft story. I think there was even a free safety that won the Heisman. So maybe move him over to strong safety or move one of your free safeties over there and shore up that secondary a little bit. Because realistically, quarterback, you got an X factor quarterback or superstar, whatever Leverett is. Dobbins should be a more than capable running back, and then the receivers aren't bad either. So, but what if you had to give him a challenge, something to shoot for this season? What would it be for Figs?
Something to shoot for. I mean, I would just be trying to get yourself out of the top 10 of the draft. I feel like that's a realistic goal for next season. The schedule really shouldn't be too bad. You have winnable games in the division. I really don't think there's a reason why Figs should be sitting at 3-4 wins in a season. I feel like you can easily climb to that 7-8-ish area. Go 500. I think 500 is like a very successful season. 500?
Okay, I'll go with that. Let's shoot for Figs 500. That should be his goal. We'll see if he can get to that. All right, next up, the Bengals. This is your heat check, darling. You started out picking 2-step, and it's really been kind of downhill since.
Hasn't gone well for him since that call. It's been pretty ugly, actually.
Yeah, he's obviously set at quarterback. He's got Burrow 5 more years remaining, so he's set there. He's got a 97 overall Joe Mixon for another 4 years. Unless something crazy happens, he's set there. His receiving core, Forbes 89, Ross 83, Tate 81, Higgins 78, Tyler Boyd 85. This dude should be putting up like 60 points a game. His tight end, Barker, offense. 89 overall. You look at his line, he's got a 71 overall. He's got a 73, 67 at center. Looks like his right guard, Elfline, is going to be leaving, but he's got a 65 behind him. And then a 78 at right tackle. That offense doesn't need a thing, except somebody to not throw to the wrong team.
That's the only thing that can get better.
I mean, looking at those numbers, that may be one of the best offenses in the SML.
It's easily up there.
I think it'd be hard to find a better one. 92 overall Burrow, and 97 overall running back, and then all those mid to high 80s receivers with an 89 tight end. That's outside of the line. There's not many going to be higher. But then we move over to the defense. Yep. Sam Hubbard's his left end, 79 overall, 30 years old. He's got Carl Lawson, 89 overall, 30-year-old right end. His defensive tackle, Reeder, is 31-year-old, 83 overall defensive tackle. That's probably, unless he hasn't done his re-signs, look like he's going to walk. He's got 2 74s to back him up. Linebackers, pretty awful, 72, 72, 71. Middle linebackers, 74, 76. Right outside linebacker, he does have an 82 there, Davis Gaither. But other than that, it's low 70s. Corners, he's got Jones, 81 overall. He's got Spillman, 85. Phillips, 77.
He's a player. Spillman's very good.
Killings is the one he got in the last draft. I forget who said he was probably the best corner to come out in the draft. He's 75 overall, sitting in Cincinnati.
And normal dev.
Yeah.
Yeah, not very good.
His safeties, he does have Bates. He's a 90 overall, 2 years remaining on him, so he'll probably make it through the cycle without a new contract. And then he's got Rapp with 3 years remaining, 85 overall. I would say for two-step, he's got to do something to upgrade the defensive front seven. His corners not the greatest, but not really a need. That defensive line, and more specifically the linebackers. Linebackers got to be upgraded. He's obviously spent his time and money on offense, and when you throw in 50 picks a season, maybe you should work on stopping the other team from scoring. What do you think? What should he do?
I mean, I definitely agree with that. I think the front seven's got to be better, linebackers specifically. But I would be surprised if he's getting much pressure from the edges there. Lawson can obviously do it, but those defensive tackles are not going to be getting any push. The other end, nothing. So if you can't do that, people are going to pick apart even a good secondary. So you have to be able to get to the quarterback or stop the run or something. And I doubt that front seven is capable of doing either.
All right, so for two-step, I'm thinking 6 wins. I think that's probably realistic for two-step. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say the same. I think it goes along with his challenge, though. My challenge for two-step is just you cannot be in the top 5 of interceptions every season. Cut down the picks. Winnable division. We've seen what happens when two-step doesn't turn the ball over. He can win games. So, if he can keep the ball control down to, like a reasonable level instead of, fighting with the top 3 guys in the league for total picks, I feel like that, expected win number can go up. Now, with that said, we haven't seen the ability to do that. So I can't just say, two-step can win 9 games. But if he can keep the ball control down, I feel like he can make a run at that division.
All right, so that's going to be our challenge to him, is not be in the top 5 for interceptions. I think that's definitely a good challenge. Whether or not he can do that, I'm not convinced. Next up,
we will find out. He has the pieces.
He does have the pieces. Next up is Noel and the Bills. Noel's going to be hurt this season. He doesn't have a first-round pick because he gave it to Prime. He bet on himself, and that was a losing bet. And he's going to lose. House
always wins.
He's going to lose his top quarterback. He's going to, I assume, run with Moats again. He's paying the guy quite a bit of money. He was his first-round pick last season. So I assume he's going to give him another go. So Winston's going to hit the scrap heap. His running back, he had Sprinkle for a little bit. He had Kemp for a little bit. Looks like he may have settled on Waters, even though he's got a 94 overall in Singletary. Singletary just not fast enough to play.
Yeah, at least Waters is quick.
Yeah. Now maybe Singletary's a guy he could try and move. I'm not sure. Let's see if he's a superstar. He's not a superstar. He's a star. 86 speed, though, is going to make him tough to move. But he does have 95 change of direction, 93 spin, 95 juke, 92 carry.
His stats are all insane outside of the speed.
Yeah, if he covers all hits, fights for yards, everything you could want in him, except that one attribute, that speed attribute, 86. But he may be able to find somebody that'll take him. Fullback, he's good. Receivers, so he does have he has Haynes and he has Diggs. Those are his top 2. Outside of that, he doesn't have anybody over a 72. And that's Lynch. So if I'm just without looking at anything else, if I'm Noel, I'm trying to get a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He's got an 85 tight end and a 91 tight end. Maybe try trading one of those guys. Left tackle, 73, 72 left guard, 85 center, 75 right guard, 74 right tackle. So he's pretty much 70s across the board, which I think everybody's kind of accepted as good enough to
a very good offensive line.
Yeah, that's probably a good offensive line. Just re-signed Epinesa, so he's got his left end set. Right end, he's going to lose Lynch, it looks like, and then he's got Hart, a 70. Maybe he's going to want to add something on that defensive line as well. Ed Oliver down there at 95, locked up for the cycle. Usually there's some decent defensive tackles if you don't mind an older guy. There's a couple out there.
Mm-hmm.
His linebackers, he's got Culver, a 76 overall, young guy, 23. He's got him locked up for 2 more years. He's got Edmonds, 91 in the middle. And then on the right side, he doesn't really have anybody. So he could end up going with something on the outside linebacker. Again, that not having that first pick is going to hurt.
Yeah.
Corners, Tre'Davious White. He's got Johnson, an 82. Both of those guys locked up for 1 more year. Dillon behind them at a 77 overall, and it looks like Darby's going to walk as well. Free safeties, Micah Hyde, he's got Hearns an 81. And then he's got Daniel Thomas and Lynn, 26-year-old. Looks like he just re-signed him to a 6-year deal because he's got 5 remaining. So I'd imagine that's going to be his guy. 88 overall, no problems there.
Yeah, superstar as well. Pretty good abilities, strip specialist and pick artist. So that's a solid player.
I think if I'm Noel, I'm probably going to go linebacker. I know I said receiver, but looking at his linebackers, that might be the better move, especially missing a first-round pick. You're going to be limited, and if I got to pick between the two, that's what I want to do. Maybe he can sign somebody in free agency. We saw Mike Evans is going to be out there.
Yeah, I think there will be a couple of receivers that are serviceable. He can slide in. Obviously, with Diggs and with the 2 very good tight ends, he'll be able to get by avoiding that wide receiver spot.
All right, so what do you think is realistic for Noel in the AFC East?
AFC East is tough. Obviously, you got Paulie and Matt out there. So it's not a very easy division to be in. I think that Noel can be better than what is prime picking this season? It's like 8, I think.
6, I think.
6, yeah, that's high. I think Noel can be better than that, but I also don't know that I can really predict more than like 6 wins.
I'd agree with 6. I think that's probably good. He's going to have, I think, the 4th place schedule or 3rd place schedule. It might even be 4th. Yeah. I think Latin may have passed him.
Yeah, I think Latin did. I don't know.
Maybe not. I'm not sure. Either way, the 3rd or 4th place schedule is really, it doesn't matter below that.
Right.
Those are the 2 I guess you want if you're going to have an easy schedule. 6 wins, probably doable. For a challenge for Noel, I would say get at least 1 win against Paulie and Matt. 1 from each, not just 1 out of the 2. I mean, split the season series with each of them, and then that would be considered, I think, a good season for him. I know he made the playoffs a couple seasons ago, but I don't think he's anywhere near that now. Maybe
I think the quarterback's going to really hurt him in that.
Yeah, he's taking a step back at quarterback,
probably out of the picture. Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because that running back looks like he might come along and be good, and now he's taking a step back at quarterback. So
yeah,
I think split with them, and you can consider that a good season.
Yep.
All right, next up is the Broncos. He's definitely done his re-signings because he's only got 5 guys that he's letting walk. 3 of them are over 30. 2 offensive linemen, a fullback, Jacoby Brissett, and a bust at safety. It looks like probably a guy that ended up getting 1 point increase and can't play stuff. No, he's an 88. I don't know why he's letting that guy go. 22-year-old. But for
I need a
reason,
safety, so let a couple of them go to UFA so I can choose.
Yeah. Quarterback, obviously, he's got his guy in McDowell that he's going to continue to dev. He's got Calais and Elam at running back. I don't see either of them going anywhere. They're both 2 more years locked up. He needs a fullback. I don't think we even need to talk about his receivers.
Does he need a fullback?
Who are all coming back. I'm saying he needs one, as in he won't have a single one. So I wouldn't pick anybody, but I mean, he can sign a free agent there. Tight end still has Kelsey. We haven't seen Kelsey retire yet. Supposedly he was gonna. Doesn't matter. He's got Fant backing him up. So just an embarrassment of riches there as far as pass catchers go. He's going to lose his left tackle, which is his only one. His left guard's his only one. He's still got an 80 at center. He's got 4 right guards, so he can easily slide one of them over. Mm-hmm. He's got 1 right tackle, so I don't think he's going to do anything with the offensive line. His defensive line, he's got Winter still for another year, 85 overall. He's got Chubb for 4 more years. He's got this guy, Clancy, that he's been trying to shop because he's over 90 power move or finesse move, whatever. And then he's got Wilhelm, his number 1 pick from last year. I'd say he's set on defensive end. I don't think he's going to do anything there. And then Tuitt at the defensive tackle position with Newton and Billings, both as decent guys behind him. And then we get to his linebackers. He's got Carter, 76. Middle of the field, Gilbert, I guess, is his best guy. He got him from KJ. He's pretty fast, so it's a decent middle linebacker. Jacobs with his unfakeable on the right side. And then he's got at corner, he's got Rogers, he's got Clay Brooks, he's got Jackson, he's got Josiah Scott. He's decent at corner. And then safeties. Simmons, that's his sub linebacker. So he's got Robinson. And then he's got Thompson here, 93 overall for 3 more years. I mean, his team's set, obviously. He's going to just go with whatever the best player available is, basically. Maybe he'll go after a tight end in order to have 2 in case Kelsey retires, but not much.
Yeah, it's the squad is absolutely vicious. That's for sure.
Yeah, not much to give him advice for team building because clearly his team is just stacking talent at this point.
No, you're back.
So realistically, I don't think outside of AFC Championship or even a Super Bowl appearance, anything less than that would be a disappointing season.
Yeah, 100%.
And then a challenge would obviously be just win the Super Bowl. I don't think anybody would disagree with that.
Yeah, that's really all it comes down to. If you lose more than 2 regular season games, it's probably a disappointment.
Yeah.
And then anything short of a Super Bowl, it's not realistic to project really anything other than that.
Yep. All right, then we have the Browns. Browns look like they're letting Bitonio go, Ogunjobi, Janovich, another safety, Coakley, and then another defensive tackle in man.
Bring on the safeties.
He's got. You can never say it with Woods. I say he's got his quarterback. He's got his quarterback today. We'll see what happens. Later today. Running back, he cut Kareem Hunt, so all he's got is Chubb, but he seems to like this guy Curtis. I noticed he rotates him in a little bit. Janovich obviously gone. His receivers are still pretty good with Harper. He's got Beckham. Peoples-Jones isn't bad, and then he's got Ellerby and this other guy Williams, Javon Williams, 6'5", superstar. His abilities are energizer and red zone threat, so not the greatest abilities, but red zone threat's not bad. Hooper, 90 overall, tight end, so he's good on offense. His offensive line, other than he's letting Bitonio go, so he will need a left guard, but he's got 2 right guards to swing one over there if you're okay with playing a 61 overall.
Which you should be.
Yeah. When I go to pull up left ends, he has
nobody.
Not a single one. Now right ends, he's got Moody and he's got Garrett.
Garrett's okay.
Defensive tackles, he'll have Blaylock. He just signed him, I think, towards the end of last season, or it had to be towards the end of last season, like the Super Bowl week or something like that. I recently saw it. He's got two young guys behind him, so I think he's going to go with those 3. Right now, I'd say he needs a defensive lineman, though. And then he's got Taki, McMillan, and Carter at left outside linebacker. Nobody great there. 1 middle linebacker in Godwin. And then he's got his right outside linebackers are his 3 best ones in Phillips, Landry, and Wilson. So he'll just probably, because they're all.
I think Landry plays defensive end for him.
I think he does, and I think Wilson plays the middle. He just can't change their position because they're superstars. So
correct.
He's probably good there. Corners, he's got 4 corners. Ward 96, Williams 86, Rutland 77, and Thomas a 70. If I'm Woods, I'm probably adding a corner just because you could use another one. Delpit at free safety, 95 overall. He's got Harrison and Briscoe. Briscoe ended up having like 8 interceptions, 6 interceptions, something like that. Played pretty well for him last season, in addition to Ronnie Harrison. So I think he's safe there. I would probably go with something on the defensive line, maybe a corner, but I'd lean corner.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. The defensive line, I think you're going to be okay. Obviously, Garrett can mask pretty much any kind of sin. Maybe defensive tackle.
Yeah.
Maybe try and get more of an impact guy there. But obviously, Landry and Garrett are going to do the heavy lifting for you.
All right, so Browns, realistic expectations. He won the AFC North last season. He kind of finished the season. He finished it out strong because I thought he was going to end up losing the AFC North. And he pulled it out. He ended up beating me in the playoffs. Didn't show up to play prime, but I think AFC North champs again is a realistic expectation for him.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's the most well-rounded team in the division. I don't know that he necessarily always plays like it, but I think he is the most well-rounded. So yeah, I think winning's a realistic expectation, and I think the challenge would be try and make a little more of a dent in the playoffs. Obviously, beating you was a big win, big upset, but then the second game leaves a pretty bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah, he kind of came back to earth after that upset.
He went down to the core of the earth.
Yeah.
He went through it. He just kept going.
So a challenge for Woods. I think what I would have to say is sweep NYT. That seems to be his kryptonite in the AFC North.
Yep.
Always keeps it close because he drops 2 to NYT.
Yep.
So sweeping NYT is my challenge to Woods.
Yeah, it's a good one. So I'd say sweep NYT, and I want to see an AFC Championship berth. It's a lofty goal, but I want to see it. The team's good enough.
All right, next up is the Buccaneers. Buccaneers, the big move that stands out is it sounds like Mike Evans is going to be hitting free agency. He's got a couple other guys that could be free agents. Nobody really stands out. Morrison, a right outside linebacker, maybe. The rest of them are just kind of older guys, it looks like. So, quarterback. Obviously, he's got Reddick. I know he said, I think he was looking at quarterbacks and was disappointed there were none to draft. But 96 throw power, 94 deep, 94 medium, 83 short accuracy, which is kind of weird. But yeah, I would absolutely.
You can tell what Dookie prioritized.
Yeah, I would definitely swap quarterbacks in a heartbeat. But he's paying him a fortune.
Yeah, he loses like $93 million. I think I saw if he trades him or cuts him.
Yeah, it's a $93 million.
93 and a half. Yeah, cap
$131 million cap penalty.
I think he's going to be using Reddick next season.
Yeah. He's letting Duke Johnson go, but that doesn't really matter because he's got Fournette and Ronald Jones. Obviously, his 2 guys there. Juszczyk's going to be gone. He's going to lose Evans, but he's still got a couple decent guys to go with Michael Thomas and Chris Godwin. So receiver, even without Evans, is not going to be a need. He's got Ertz for 2 more years at tight end. Maybe he could try and start getting a replacement for him. His offensive line, he's got a 72, not a 72 there, 67 at left guard, 80 at center, multiple 70s at right guard, so he can slide one of those over, and an 83 that he's paying also $12+ million a year to play right tackle. So there are guys that are going to pay that offensive line. Defensive line, on the other hand, he's got 71 that's going to be left over after Simon walks. He's got a 69 right end that's going to be left over after Judon walks. Now his defensive tackles, he's got Vea and he's got Kinlaw, so he's got some decent players in the middle of that line. The edges of that line are awful. And then you look at his outside linebackers, Benedict and Beneder's 2 best. They're mid to upper 70s. He's got Devin White, obviously, in the middle. And then he's got no one on the right. So his 2 guys that he has on the left, Benedict and Bennett, they're probably going to – one of them's going to move over to the right side, I would think. But I'd still upgrade this defensive line or the outside linebackers. But then you look at his corners, and it's not much better. He's got Davis, 86, 78, Jackson, 77, Needham, Childers, Henson, both mid-70s. Pick at number 5, I think you can get a corner that would be probably at least your number 2 guy in this lineup. I know there's some guys probably higher overall, but you can probably get a faster, better cover corner out of this draft at 5. But the defense just has so many needs. Safety's got Fisher. Fisher's a 92, and then you look at his strong safeties, 68 and a 73. So
yeah, this has to be an all defense draft. Has to be.
I don't think I would even consider an offensive player at all this draft. I would go either corner or outside linebacker, whichever one is the top guy at 5. You're going to take that, and then I'm just building my defensive line with my ends and my outside linebackers, because the team would be nasty if the defense wasn't the polar opposite of the offense.
Yeah.
All right, so the realistic expectation for the Buccaneers, what do you think?
I mean, the division's wide open. You have a roster capable of winning it, but we don't have the history showing that he can win it. I think the realistic expectation would be probably 3rd. I'd say 3rd in his division.
Who's 4th?
Fourth is probably Lawyer.
Okay.
I think Colt can do enough on offense that he wins enough games to squeeze into that second spot, and I think D Muse is probably my favorite.
Okay. All right. I'll agree with that. We can go with third.
Yeah.
What about a challenge for Field? What would be a good
I think the challenge for me would be, I mean, you have an insane amount of offensive pieces. I would just go guns a-blazing and just try and outscore everyone. Like, we're talking top 5 offense, and then just pray to God that you can get 1 or 2 stops on defense in a game.
Okay, let's say, what do you think about averaging over 30 points a game?
Right. Like, you might still lose a couple because the defense is going to struggle. But if you can consistently put 30 up in a game, and you should be able to with those receivers, the quarterback, Ronald Jones, that seems like a good, that 27, 30 point range per game.
All right, let's do that.
I feel like you could make some noise.
All right, 30 points a game. That's your challenge, Field. All right, now we got Meats. Meats and his Cardinals. He's got a couple guys walking. They're all low 70s, mid 70s. Nothing crazy there. He's got his quarterback, obviously, Kyler Murray. Running back, he has that second-year guy now, Letty Brown, if he can still walk after all the carries that he had last season.
I have a feeling he's going to get about 1,000 more.
I don't doubt it. He took him from normal to X Factor, but he got recuperation and Energizer. So good. he got 2 that help his fatigue and stamina, and then he did get first one free as his X Factor. So
that's not bad.
Maybe he'll get to use that, but his 2 abilities are not very good.
Yeah.
His receivers, he just franchised Hopkins. He's got Isabella still. He's got Kirk. He's got Reedy, who isn't terrible. But he's got 3 stud receivers, so that's not going to be a need. He's got Brewer at tight end. His offensive line, despite saying that they mean absolutely nothing, he's got an 82 overall at left tackle. He did let the 75 overall walk, but he's got 2 71s behind him. He's got another 71 at 5 at center, a 79 at right guard, and a 79 at right tackle. So offensive line means nothing, except I'm going to have everybody 70s or better and spend a decent amount of money on it. So, because we can look, his left tackle is making over $3 million a year. He's got, now he's only spending $1 million on the left guard, 1.3 on the center. Looks like just under 1 on the right guard, but then 6.5 on the right tackle. So some guys he is prioritizing, it looks like. Mm-hmm. His ends, he's got Hoskins, who's a 79 overall with 3 years remaining at left end. At right end, he's got Franklin, 74, probably be his starter. His defensive tackles, he's got a pair of 80s, but he was shopping Ford earlier. His outside linebackers, Manny Fitzpatrick and Ortiz. Reddick is going to be in the middle. Aquara on the right side, it looks like. His corners, Jamel Dean, 82, and then other than Murphy at 96, the rest of them are 70s or below. So he could probably use a corner. He's got Wingard at free safety, who I think I cut that guy season 2. He wasn't bad as a sub linebacker, so he may be using him there as well. Francois, that's another guy that I cut.
Pretty much only uses Simmons and Reddick. I don't think he touches Wingard.
Yeah, he's got quite a few guys that I cut, actually. Wingard, Francois, Godwin I cut this year. And then Baker and Simmons, obviously, his 2 safeties. So, decent secondary, other than he could probably use a corner. I think I would go with defensive line or linebacker, though, before I went with corner.
Yeah, I think defensive line is kind of the glaring need here. None of these guys are superstars. He doesn't have any abilities, which to me, most guys I've seen without abilities pretty much all play the same, regardless of ratings.
Yeah, now he did have Chandler Jones, and I can't remember
Super Bowl
where
MVP Chandler Jones.
I can't remember where I last saw Chandler Jones, but I think he was doing pretty good. Oh, that's right. He was in the Super Bowl. So maybe that was a mistake. If he was on first and goal when we asked that question, I'll bet that maybe his move he wanted to take back. Realistically,
he would defend himself.
Realistically, I still think third in the NFC West. I think Dump and RD are just pretty well above him, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Yeah, the roster is good enough to win it, but I think we've just seen that I think RD and Dump have kind of surpassed him in gameplay at this point. So I agree with you. I really don't think that he can climb. I don't think he can win the division. I think he could hit second depending on if his schedule is more favorable than the other guys, but I definitely don't think I can see him winning.
It's definitely possible. I think for my challenge to him, I'm thinking split with RD and Dump. And I don't think that's actually probably not even an unrealistic challenge for him. But I think that's probably the best he can hope to do in that division. That's a tough division.
Yeah, last season he got swept by both in a 4-week span. So that was tough to watch. You really can't let that happen if you want to have a shot in your division. And I think too, I mean, the passing game has to improve. Everyone knows we can spam running backs. But I think he finished last season 32nd in passing.
Yeah.
That has got to come up. You got to break into the 20s at least.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what he does next season.
Yeah.
Then we have DW and the Chargers.
I'm not going to lie to you. I think we're on pace for like a 3-hour-long episode if we go through every single position like this.
I'm thinking maybe we speed it up a little bit. It's definitely it's
we are only in
36 minutes and we're at Chargers. All right, so DW, real quick. He's got Herbert. He's got his running back. We don't even need to look at his team. I know what he's got on his team. He is missing Keenan Allen, though. He's letting him walk. He's letting his guard walk. I think that's going to be a common theme anyways. Teams are going to let their offensive linemen go. As we've seen it play out, that really doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, it's going to be a heavy year in UFA for offensive line.
I think if I'm DW, though, as much as he runs the ball, I might think about paying those offensive linemen. Because if it makes even a little difference, you run the ball second most of anybody in the league as far as carries go. You had Meats with over 300, and DW was right behind him with like 280 for Eckler. So I would think about boosting up that offensive line. It helps your defense is pretty stacked. So realistically for him, I think it's between him and Future for that second spot. So I'll probably say the same for Future, but I think realistic expectation is you're expecting that second place in the AFC West.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think?
Yeah, I think my expectation would be third. I think Future has just a slight leg up with just a slightly more dynamic offense, just mostly on account of just Ruggs. So I think Future is a little more explosive, a little more dynamic. I would probably pick Future as my second in the AFC West. But I think that, DW for sure is going to lock up. He's definitely going to lock up the third spot. That's easy. But I think with him, he can lock up the wild card pretty handily. That last 1 or 2 spots in the AFC. And my challenge for him would be, get a playoff win. I don't think he didn't win one last season, did he?
Nope. I don't think he won one last season, and he didn't win one the season before, which was his first appearance in the playoffs. So yeah, win a playoff game. That's kind of the next step.
Yeah, so take that next step, win the playoff game. Team's pretty good, and you've got the game for it. So
next up is the absolute worst player in the SML, the Chiefs.
Should I take my shirt off real quick?
Yeah, the only person I think in the history of Madden 21 that I've seen complain about the talent on the Chiefs.
They're not a good team from what I've been told.
He's called Mahomes horrible. He's only a 99 overall. I'd love to see him try and play with Josh Allen, which we can make that happen. Josh Allen is definitely available. What he's missing,
he saves $42 million by getting rid of Mahomes this year.
There you go.
Watch out.
Let's be honest. What he's missing is a cheesy running back that he can spam. It's the same thing he did last cycle with Greer. He's got Tyreek Hill. He's got Mecole Hardman. I don't even need to look at this team. It's the Chiefs. You're complaining about the Chiefs. Like, I don't know. Realistic expectations, dead last again. There's no team in the NFC West or AFC West that he's going to beat. He's going to get swept by him. If I was as bad at Madden or at anything as Raider is at Madden, I would find something else to do. That's just, he's bad. So, I mean, he'll get lucky every once in a while. He got a win.
No other way to put it.
Yeah. So unless he gets his human joystick running back, he's going to continue to be bad. And I don't know. That's all I got for him.
Yeah, I don't think he can project more than 2 wins. I think the challenge would be win like 5.
Yeah.
With, Pat and Hill.
Oh, we're doing for the rest of the cycle? I thought you just meant for the season.
That's honestly, he's on pace. He's on pace that he might struggle hitting 5 the rest of the cycle.
All right, let's move on before I get depressed. All right, so we have the Colts. Prime lost quite a bit from his Super Bowl team. He's going to lose Watt, Levante David, and Chandler Jones all to retirement. And then on top of that, and some of these guys he's letting go because of regression, but it looks like he's going to drop Mack. He's going to let Landry walk. And then the ones for regression, Barr obviously dropped to a 65. Not quite the superstar he was. He's losing Casey, but he's still got more than enough talent on this team to repeat his Super Bowl run. And then, of course, on top of that, he's got Knowles' number 6 pick in the draft, which he's either going to use on a guy that's going to step right in or he's going to trade it for something even better. So I think realistically, it's pretty much AFC Championship or Super Bowl again for Prime, and then that would be obviously his prediction as well would be repeat.
Yeah, pretty much. I think the challenge is repeat, do it again. Yeah. It's going to be tougher with this team. I think that they've now fallen with the loss of the 3 guys. They're big. I think that it's fallen below Dan and below you, but I don't think it's fallen enough that you can realistically say that he doesn't have a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's going to be free agents out there. I know we haven't got to him yet, but Cam Jordan's going to be out there. There's going to be guys.
He'll be able to plug some holes.
Yeah, and he's got that 6 pick that he doesn't have to make a pick with. He can trade that for something, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Cowboys and Grams. I know we've said it, kind of just killed it, is Grams and his defense. But let's actually look at his defense. He's got 270s on the line, but he's got 280s sitting at the right end spot. So just split those two. He started to get quite a few sacks this season, and his defense was playing a lot better. He's loaded at defensive tackle. If anybody needs defensive tackles, you might want to see Grams. He's got a bunch of young ones in the mid-70s. Linebacker, he could probably use a linebacker. I know he's got Woods there at 78 overall. That's his draft pick from last season. He's still got Jalen Smith for one more year. Corners, he's got 4 of them 80 or better. I think his problem is he doesn't have many of the
his corners are loaded.
Yeah. Robinson at free safety, strong safety. He's got a guy that's over 80. I think this is the time where Grams can take best available, and it works out because he's got a worse pick than he usually does because he did have a good season this year. So he has the benefit of being able to take best available player. And I think realistically, he's looking at number 2 in the NFC East again. I still don't think he's quite at the level of QP.
Yeah, the NFC East, at this point, QP is definitely favored. And we'll get to the other 2 guys after Grams. But that number 2 spot, I feel any one of them can take it. So I think that's going to be the challenge and also honestly the prediction for each one of them.
Okay, I like it. Next up, Paulie's Dolphins. He just traded his first pick, and for the life of me, I can't remember who it was. It was a receiver.
It was Devin Duvernay.
That's right. He got Duvernay from the Ravens. Okay, so he's got
very fast, very good.
Yeah, he got Tolbert. He still has Breida. Breida's still at 93, still at X Factor, all that. But as we saw and have seen throughout the cycle, he's kind of fragile.
Just always hurt.
And for whatever reason, Paulie traded his first for Hooker and Hines at the beginning of the cycle, but has no faith in Hines. So maybe I could see him going for another running back in the event that Breida gets hurt. And then defense is probably something else I would go for because he's got a pretty good defense. There's a couple decent guys on there. He could use another corner. He's got Jones 89, but he's getting older. He's still 91 speed, so that's good. But he could use a little help at corner. Safeties, he's got Hooker there, and he's got Love that he got from the Giants. So if he falls in love with somebody on defense, I'd go with that. Otherwise, he's probably best player available. Obviously, his prediction or expectation should be winning the AFC East again. I don't think anybody would dispute he's the favorite for that.
Sure.
As far as the challenge, though, make it to the AFC Championship game. He seems to fizzle out in the playoffs. He did win a game this last playoff, and I think most of them he's won one game, but just hasn't got to that AFC Championship yet. So I'd like to see that. Well, I wouldn't like to
the
see
challenge.
it, but that's my my challenge.
Yeah, the challenge has to be beating one of the big three in the AFC. Right now, the AFC is definitely separated between you've got you, Prime, and Dan, and then everybody else. To this point, it seems like the only person who can really break through into that could be Paulie, but he seems to be too infatuated with trying to build shrines for each one of you three instead of winning it for himself. So I would like to see him try and actually win it himself instead of folding as soon as he sees you guys.
Yeah, I think he could at some point get there. I mean, he's beaten me twice in the five games I think we played. Two of them he got the win. So he can definitely play with anybody. I just for whatever reason he doesn't
seem to want to.
Yeah,
he doesn't seem to want to when it starts to matter. He just seems to lose interest. And I mean, hey, if he's just here to do his little show and call people out in the chat, cool, that's fine. But you know, you have the talent, you can do it. So let's go see you do it.
All right. So next up is your favorite, the Eagles. He just traded Carson Wentz. He got a second round pick. I think it was 10th overall in the second round.
Great trade for him. Great trade for him.
From the Titans. Yeah, I tried to actually trade for him. I offered him, actually it was your pick, the second round pick that I got from you, but he got a better one in the top of the second round, so he took that. And I wasn't going to offer more than that for Carson Wentz. No. But so what do you think he needs to do? The team's not that bad.
No, his team, he's done well, especially considering the position he took this team over with. He's developed them very well. Brian Battle turned into an absolute freak overnight. Jalen Reagor is very good now. The quarterback is still a work in progress, which might hold him back a little bit. But you know, he's definitely done a great job with his team, as I figured he would. I think his defensive line is very weak. He could really use, you know, some ends, some edge rushers. So that's where I would personally be looking in this draft. But,
yeah, I just looked over his roster, and I would absolutely go defense the entire draft. And I'd start with corner because he doesn't have anybody over 80.
Right.
Which you're playing QP twice a year with McLaurin and his tight end. You're playing.
Yep. Rowan likes to chuck it.
Yep. And then you got Grams with CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper. You're gonna have to get some corners, or you're gonna find yourself in shootouts that you're not gonna stop the other team, and you gotta hope they can't stop you either. Yep. All right. So realistic.
Yeah, Klink's expectation in this challenge again, it's gonna be the same for for Rowe coming up later. That second spot in the NFC East is ripe for the taking. I think Klink can grab it, and I think we can see Klink in an SML playoff game at the end of the cycle.
Okay. Yeah, I think his realistic expectation is probably somewhere in that 2 or 3 spot. Like you said, the 3 of them are all pretty even. Graham's last season separated himself, but we'll see if that continues or if that was just kind of the product of having an easier schedule. But yeah, I'd like to see him take that next jump into at least one of the playoff spots.
Yeah.
All right, Falcons and Lawyer. So the one that you said is going to be the worst team in the NFC South.
Sorry, Lawyer.
He does still have the ageless wonder, Todd Gurley, who's only 31 actually, but he's got 1 year left. Like
70.
He's still got some decent receivers. No Julio Jones, but he's got Ridley and Pettis.
Did Julio retire?
I don't know. I don't remember seeing Julio retire. If he did, it was the quietest retirement ever. But when I look at his team, he's
that's
not
like a really big deal if Julio retired.
I don't even know if he had him last year now that I'm looking at it. But He's got Higbee at tight end. Obviously, we don't care about the line. Defensive line, it's not bad. He's got Tack McKinley. He's got Grady Jarrett, one of the best defensive tackles, if not the best. His linebackers are actually all good. He's got 5 of them over 80, 1 over 90. Oh, switch teams. Corners, he's got more that he overpaid for from Prime. He's got Oliver, Sheffield, Terrell, who never really developed because I think he was a rookie coming into this cycle or maybe a second-year guy, and he's still sitting at 75 overall.
Julio Jones did retire.
Okay, so
Julio
Julio
gone.
retired.
I'm looking through the entire NFL, and this dude is nowhere to be found. So Julio's gone.
Big loss, and
Moment of silence.
to me, looking at his team, receivers the way he's got to go.
Yeah,
he's got an 85, he's got an 80, but both of them 29 and 30. You got this 25-year-old X Factor quarterback who's 92 throw power, high 80s for all his accuracies. You got to get him, like you said, you got to get him some help. And then looking forward, you may want to get
into running back.
You may want to get a running back as well. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So realistic, I think he's in that 3-4 spot. I would say the 3-4 spot right now for the NFC South. I hate to say it, but I think Colt's ahead of him.
I think Colt's ahead of him too. Colt has a little bit more of a dynamic offense. He's got a couple more, big time pieces. I think the gameplay wise, I think Lawyer is right there. I think the team might hold him back a little more than Colt. Yeah.
So for the challenge for him, I would say get to that playoff spot. I think he had 6 wins last year, so he's going to need a couple more to make that jump. But I think it's realistic.
I think it might be tough to reach. I'm trying to think about my top 7 in the NFC. I think it's really. I think that one might be a little tough. I don't think he could definitely scoop second in that division.
Yeah, I don't think he's top 7 right now, but I'm trying to set the bar a little higher than just his expectations. I think
that's fair.
He's got to improve on those expectations to hit it, but I think it's doable.
All right, let's see it.
All right,
get in the playoffs there, Lawyer. We're ready for you.
So next up is the 49ers and Dump, really good team. I mean, just looking at his roster right now, sorted by overall, the top 3 are all 99. Kittle, Bosa, and Edmonds, all 99. Warner, 97. Armstead, 94. He's got 2 receivers, 94, 88. Another 87 right outside linebacker. His corners, top 2, 84 and 83. Another linebacker at 83. The safety just won Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's a 77, and he's now a star. So if he gets a dev game, he may get him up to superstar during the season. He did lose Mostert. So if Edens goes down, Mostert is gone. But I think Dump can probably run with just about anybody. He does have Hurts, who is now at star as well. I don't know. For this team, I would probably go defense because defense has been Dump's kind of Achilles heel this cycle. He can score 1 million points, but the problem is he gives up 1,000,002. So I would probably go defense. His defensive tackles, he could probably use a better defensive tackle, I guess, if I had to pick something. 76 is at the top. Linebackers, he's stacked. Maybe get another corner if you want somebody faster, or a strong safety because your best one there is a 73.
Yeah, corners are also getting up there in age, 30, 29, 29. Yeah. So
I'd probably beef up my secondary. Teams tend to throw on him, I think. Everybody seems to rave about how good his run defense is, but
it's hard to run on him, that's for sure.
Yeah, so maybe shore up that secondary. As far as expectations, I think really it's 1 and 2 with him and RD at or 1 and 1A in the NFC West. So I expect him to be in one of those top 2 spots. And then obviously for a challenge would be to win the NFC West and win a playoff game or 2.
Yeah. Yep. Playoffs have not treated Dump well to this point. I think he definitely has at least 1 win because I know I've played him in the second round.
I think he's got 2 wins now because I think he just
2 wins.
Just won this. He got to win this playoffs, right?
Did he?
No, he didn't. He was the 5 seed.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
And he lost to Demuse. So no, he's got 1 playoff win all cycle. But if you look at his cycle record for the regular season and then his record in the playoffs, it's like night and day. He needs to get over that hump. And so that would be my challenge, would be to win 2 playoff games this playoff.
Yeah, yep, gotta at least one. You know, I don't think you can go one and done again with this roster. And I do think he can win the NFC West if he really puts his mind to it. I think he can do it. So
Yeah,
I'd say those are our two challenges: win your division, win a playoff game or two.
All right, then we've got Rowan. Rowan's putting together a pretty good team, but he's kind of up and down when he's doing good. He's in chat. He's got a lot to say. Then he kind of disappears when he's not doing so well. Maybe because he put a target on his back and because he started out good. But he did the same thing this season, just like the cycle. Started out fast and then fizzled off to the end.
Mm-hmm.
He's making some moves. I know he picked up 2 more picks just today, getting rid of McKinney. So he's got Woods and Wallace at free safety to replace him. He picked up 2 seconds in that. He's also got Jeremy Chin and Whitehead at strong safety, so he can kind of slide either of those over.
Yeah.
The thing holding him back, I think, is this. He wants to go with this second-year quarterback in Pearson over Baker Mayfield, who he's currently paying $35.8 million to this season to sit on the bench. There may have been some trade talks going around as far as unloading Baker Mayfield, so we'll see how that plays out. But for now, I think if I was to give him advice to win, it would be to keep Baker Mayfield and play him. But as somebody looking for a quarterback, I'm not going to do that. So I would definitely try to shore up the defense a little more. Obviously, I wouldn't go with Pearson at quarterback, but that's what he's chosen to do. So I would try to shore up the defense a little more if I was him.
Yeah, he's done a good job. He's put a much higher emphasis the past couple seasons on team building. I think he set himself back after season 1 with a couple trades, but he's done a good job adding to it since. So yeah, I think you go best defensive player, continue to beef up that side of the ball, and then his thing is just consistency. I think his expectations probably 3rd in his division. If I had to guess the standings, I would say Q wins it. Then it comes down to either Grams or Klink to get second, with somehow one of them finishing 4th. I can see Rowan sneaking out enough wins to get 3rd. But I think, he has the ability to be better than that. He has the ability to make the playoffs. We saw it season 1. It's just consistency. It's, can you bring the same game week in and week out without those massive letdowns that he has?
Yeah, I think he's the same with the rest of the NFC East minus QP. His ceiling is number 2 in the NFC East, but his floor is number 4, and that could be said for all 4 of them. I think realistically, this move to this rookie quarterback or second-year guy, I think it puts him at number 4 this year. So I would say my challenge to him would be to move up and take that number 2 spot in the NFC East. All right. Next up is the Jaguars. The Jaguars, I don't really know what I'm doing with this team, to be honest. I do know
a whole lot of 90 overalls by the looks of it.
Yeah, so I've gotten tired of Josh Allen. Probably 99% of the interceptions are on me, but I'm going to blame Josh Allen.
That's easier that way.
Yeah, so not to mention we're talking about we're in just about mid-April here, so I think it might make the cycle a little more interesting for me if I have something new there and something to kind of work towards as far as maybe developing a rookie or playing with somebody who I like more, like Baker Mayfield, just throwing a name out there.
Hint, hint, wink, wink, cough, cough.
Running back, I got 2 superstars at running back, Hendricks and Wiley. They're not going anywhere. My receivers I'm pretty set at. Claypool could be on the move, which he's actually pretty good. I just don't use him. He's 78 overall, 93 speed. More importantly, 6'4". So he's a big body receiver that I just don't need. Tight end, I have meant every season to upgrade my tight end, and I never have. I'm just keep rolling out there with Oliver. He's at 77 now. My line, going to be bad. Stamper, 77 overall, 26-year-old. I'm letting him walk. He wants like $5 million a year. So I'm going to let him walk. He's got like 69 run block. It shows 70, but that's because of the morale. 79 pass block. But more importantly, he's undisciplined penalty. and I've noticed almost everyone
Not
of my
worth the
holding
time.
penalties was him. So
Yep.
I'll take
Instant cut.
Yeah, I'll take slightly worse blocking for less
Not
penalties.
getting your touchdowns called back.
Yeah, because the backup is going to be, or now the starter, balanced penalty tendency, 66 run block. He's only 3 points worse. 67 pass block, quite a bit worse. But he's star dev as well, and only 23, so maybe he'll go up a little faster. And he's only costing me 670,000, which will probably be a common theme as you look at my offensive line. All pretty much in the 60s, but all fairly cheap. I do have a center that's making about $2 million. I re-signed him, but outside of that, and then my right guard, also star, making $2 million for one more year though. I did re-sign Taylor a couple years ago. He's making a decent amount. But if anybody's looking for a right tackle, 78 overall, he can be had. Defensive line, I've got Allen, Farrell. I've got Hayward.
You're looking to trade Josh Allen. I'm interested in one of them.
Yeah, unfortunately, that Josh Allen cannot be moved for 2 more seasons. So hit me up when the cycle's over.
I'm willing to break rules and not telling anyone.
There you go. Hayward is going to be walking, I think. He's 78. He's still got inside stuff. So if anybody's looking for inside stuff, feel free to.
Maybe we can continue our trade of just sending him back and forth with each other. Because you had him, then I had him, then I let him go. You took him back, so maybe I'll just take him back.
Yeah.
This season
Now he's fallen enough that I don't want him anymore.
He looks like he sucks.
Defensive tackle Devon Hamilton probably going to walk, but I got 2 young guys under him. Khalil Mack on the block. I franchised him, but I am willing to trade him. But it's not going to be cheap because he's got at least this season left, and we've got maybe one more after that, or maybe 2 more, at least one more. So he's not going to be going cheap. I've got Smart at middle linebacker, Miles Jack at right outside. My corners I feel pretty good about. Free safety, strong safety, feel good about those guys. So I'm not really sure what I'm doing in the draft. Luckily, I don't have to worry about that till the end of the second round when my picks are. So it'll just be kind of best available at that point. Prediction, second in the AFC South. That's been where I've sat pretty much the entire time. So realistically, that's what I think it'll be again. And then obviously my challenge is to get over that Dan hump and get to the Super Bowl. But outside of that,
I think I have to agree with that. Although I'd say that with Prime losing 3 very big players, without seeing how UFA shakes out, that could change things. I think your team's a little better than his right now. I also think that now that he's got that Super Bowl off his shoulders, I think he might play this season a little more relaxed. I think he could win the AFC South.
Yeah, that's one disclaimer too that we forgot to mention is we're doing this before the free agency period has started, so teams could look very different after. But up till then, this is what we're looking at.
After Raider cuts Patrick Mahomes and
That's
somebody
right.
signs him for a 1-year, $30 million deal.
So now we're looking at the Jets. He's got Bates. He's got a superstar quarterback. Guy's 23, but he has not devved him very much at all. He got him when he was 21, and he's sitting at an 82 right now. And he's a negative 1 in morale, puts him down at 81. Just not really doing much there. He needs a running back. I've made it
Badly.
from quarterback to running back, and I can already tell that's exactly what I would do is go for a running back. If you look at all the teams, look at the Super Bowl, Taylor, Cam Akers, 2 superstar running backs, X Factor, whatever. You go back one round to the AFC Championship, NFC Championship, the teams that lost, the Vikings and the Broncos. What do they have? X Factor, superstar running backs. You go back even further, and just about everybody in the playoffs has X Factor or Super Bowl or superstar running backs.
Yep.
In fact, I would almost be willing to go out on a limb and say they're all superstar or better.
Yeah.
You just have to be able to run the ball, especially come playoff time. Not that that's necessarily been an issue for Latin to worry about, but it'll help you get there too. So for him, I think it's running back. I think, unfortunately for him, though, the realistic expectation is the bottom of the AFC East. Challenge for him.
Yeah, this team just go on.
Oh, I was gonna say challenge for him. Don't be a bottom 5 team. Forget just the AFC East. Try to not be a bottom 5 team in the league. Finishing outside of that would be a success, I think.
Yeah, this team just really lacks impact players. There's not a lot of guys you can look on there and if you're going into a game, you're even worried about. So that's gonna be tough to make any noise, especially this late in the cycle when everybody's got impact players everywhere. To have almost none of those it's a death sentence. So you got to think, yeah, exactly like you said, bottom of the AFC East, and challenge would just get out of the top 5. If you can do that, it's a wildly successful season with that roster.
Yeah. All right, then we got Hova and the Lions. Now Hova just he franchise tagged Golladay, so that's good. He's got a decent team. He's got three really good corners. Really, you could almost throw the fourth one in there is decent. His
wide receivers are studs.
Yeah, his safeties could use a little work. He tried to get.
He just got McKinney.
That's right. He did get McKinney. So
yep,
he's good there. Linebackers could use a little help. He's letting Hartwig go, and I guess he's going to go with Baker. I'm not sure which quarterback. He gave Baker a 4-year deal. Maybe that's the guy he goes with. He went with him at the end of the last season. His running backs, he's got Kerryon Johnson and Swift. I would probably get a running back if I was him.
I think Johnson is superstar.
Johnson
correct.
is superstar, but he kind of falls into that same category as
he's a star. He's a star.
Okay, he's a star. So, he falls into the same category as Singletary. He's really good, but he's also kind of slow. 88 speed, tough to run with. So I would probably go there. Or I'd guess I'd go quarterback because you're letting Hartwig go.
I would re-sign Hartwig and go with a different position. I'd go defensive end.
I would have definitely given Hartwig the money and let the other guy walk. You just traded like a 2nd-round pick for Hartwig 2 seasons ago.
Yep. Has anyone had a more conflicting career than Trevor Hartwig?
Emery Leverett.
He's just had a depressing career.
Oh, that's true.
But confusing for sure has to go to Hartwig.
Yeah, so we saw Tiny. I might as well bring this up now. Saw Tiny trade for the number 2 pick, swap with Figs. Tiny's going to go with a quarterback. There's little debate there, especially after got rid of Russell Wilson, and then he's got Derek Carr. He's not going to stick around.
No.
We've got 2, maybe 3 seasons left, and you throw 30-something picks a season, and you're not near the top of the passing numbers or anything like that. Why draft a quarterback? You're not going to develop him. Use that pick and get something that you can actually build the team with. Not somebody that's going to end up a 75 overall sitting on your team that you're probably going to decide that it's him that was terrible and go a different direction. I just don't understand that part. If you're not going to have one of the best offenses in the league, so your guy's not going to develop, but you're going to burn a top pick on him. It just doesn't make sense to me. If I'm Hova, I'm going with a running back. He's probably the best thing that happened to him was Tiny getting ahead of him to take that quarterback. Other than he did get rid of his quarterback preemptively before he even had his.
You still got a few hours left, dog. Go re-sign your quarterback, please. Yeah. For the love of God, bring him back. Use the pick on an end. Use it on a running back. Do something, but please bring your quarterback back.
Realistic. I think he could be the number 3 team in the NFC North. Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as, and we've seen flashes. I mean, he beat Pauly, so he's been able to beat some of the teams. So maybe number 2 spot in the NFC North. I don't think that's too crazy to think. I mean, Mike had a great season, but as Mr. 500, like he likes to name himself, that means he's got to come back down to earth a little bit. So this could be Hova's chance.
Yeah, I think it's a realistic challenge. I think expectation he's the 3rd team in the North. But I think realistically, if things fall right for him and he gets a couple breaks, yeah, he could take 2nd.
All right. Speaking of Mike.
NFC
North, there we go. The Packers. Mike's got a really good team. It looks like he's gonna let Devontae Adams walk, but he's just got X Factor with Love and his abilities. He's got Gambler as his X Factor.
He's really good now.
He's got quick draw, anchored extender, red zone deadeye, long range deadeye, protected. And if you were ever going to win, this would be the time. All his accuracies are 90 or better. Throw on the run is better than 90. Throw under pressure is 95. definitely one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Raider would still say that he's garbage, but yeah, I don't think anybody agrees with that. If I'm Mike,
Jordan Love's really good now.
I know Mike likes this running back Bigsby. Maybe I get another running back, try to get somebody a little faster than that 90 speed. Or he could use another receiver, maybe a faster guy.
Yeah, he's definitely going to need a Devontae replacement. That's one thing about his team that was always very difficult to stop, is that no matter what happens, Devontae is going to find a way to get open, and he's going to catch the ball. So, I think he's really going to miss out on that more than he thinks he's going to. So I would have to agree. Running back or receivers where you got to go in the draft.
Now, lucky for him, he's got 3 first-round picks. I would probably use one on a corner, one on a safety, and then one on. I would probably lean towards receiver because he does have a decent running back. But then in the second round, I'd come back and get a running back. Realistic.
It's a big draft for Mike.
Yeah, realistic expectations. Second in the NFC North still. Just talent-wise on his team, he should be able to hold on to that spot. And then as far as a challenge to him, maybe finish out the season stronger next time and make a playoff game.
Yeah, the challenge, I mean, you got Love to X Factor. You accomplished the mission. You don't have to force the ball like crazy. Play smart. Play smart football. Don't turn the ball over 55 times. You don't have to worry about the yards and the touchdowns anymore. You did the work with Love. This has got to be the season now that you show out, you play smart football, and you make the playoffs. You lock up a wild card spot, and you make the playoffs. Yeah,
I think expecting him to win the NFC North is a little too high because I think the gap between you and him is too far. But he could definitely take that 6 or 7 spot in the playoffs.
Yeah. I definitely don't think the 6 is out of range for him at all.
Yeah. Next up is the Panthers. D-Muse gonna have some decisions at quarterback because Russell Wilson's 85 throw power now. Not that he needs to have really high throw power to throw a little swing pass to McCaffrey. So I don't know why he's worried about throw power. McCaffrey's still a 99. He's got Moore as a 99. This is a good team. This is Royce left him in a really good spot. He's got $42 million in cap space. Well, when you're not here, you can't make bad decisions. I think that's mostly what it was.
That's true, actually. That's a good point.
Yeah, if some guys were here less, they might have better teams.
Probably a lot.
So I think he's got the ability to go with best player available here and just try to shore up things that he doesn't like with his team, however personal preference that is, because the foundation of this team is pretty solid. Realistically, I think he's going to win the NFC South, no problem. He seemed to come on strong at the end after he got all his moving stuff out of the way. And then as far as his challenge, I think the Super Bowl is a little bit of a stretch, but he has been to the NFC Championship, albeit thanks to a computer win. So I would say making a Super Bowl would be a challenge that I would place upon him.
Yeah, I think NFC Championship game is a very realistic challenge. I think Super Bowl is a bigger one. I don't think it's out of reach. I've gone on record. I think most of the teams in the NFC can beat each other. I don't think that anyone's unbeatable there at all. So, it's possible. It could be done.
All right. Next up, Matt and the Patriots paying Drew Lock $34 million a year. Absolutely hates him for some reason.
Figure it out.
Again, if you want to switch, Josh Allen more than available. Drew Lock 91 throw power, 95 deep accuracy, 97 medium accuracy, 88 short, 93 under pressure, 77 throw on the run. So that's not as high. But yeah, if you want to trade him for Josh Allen, let me know. I'll eat that cap hit. If there's a way for me to take your $48 million cap penalty for trading him, I'll take that too. Because he's pretty good.
He's pretty good. I can't figure out Matt. I've given up trying.
Yeah, it looks like he's
team building.
He's letting Rashad Penny walk after he had I think he had 2,000 yards with him. And he let him walk for.
Yeah, he got 2,000. He never played him again.
Yeah, I don't know. He said something about how he's just riding it out till Madden 22. But that's we're in April. That's still a decent amount of time away. So
his abilities do suck. I will say that.
Yeah. But it must be nice having abilities. If I'm Matt, I'm going for defensive line and probably corners would be my two positions. Actually, looking at his free safety, he could use a free safety too. So it's definitely defense.
Yeah, definitely secondary. Definitely secondary.
Realistically, I think he's the number 2 team in the AFC East. I think he's pretty solid in that number 2 spot.
Yeah, he's firmly above the 2 below him.
Yeah.
But he's firmly below Paulie.
And then I would say a challenge for him would be win the AFC East again. Prove it wasn't just a fluke, one-time thing. Nobody kind of knew you. You came in and took the AFC East. So if you want something to play for this season, prove that wasn't just a one-time thing.
My challenge would be stop complaining about PJ or whoever had this team before.
Well, I figured I would issue a challenge that was possible.
Realistic?
Yeah, realistic challenge.
There you go. You have a realistic one. I gave the unrealistic one.
Next up is Future and the Raiders. Really good offense. Ruggs, Jacobs, Ginn. He does have an offensive lineman he's paying almost $15 million to. His team played a lot better, especially the defense. Haskins, maybe not the answer at quarterback, but he's got him for another year. But he's been one of those guys too that just couldn't kind of decide on what quarterback he wanted. I would say get another receiver, maybe to go opposite Ruggs, but that would be a guy that would just run routes because it's Ruggs, it's Ruggs and Waller. I mean,
yeah,
those are the 2 guys. His defensive line is actually pretty good. His linebackers also pretty good. I would probably add another corner. You got Peters as your number 2 guy, and he's getting older. Nelson's older. Even Arnett is 28 now. I would probably add a corner or a safety. He does use Nicholson at safety. Nicholson played really well. So that would be my way for Future. I'd go corner. And realistically, I think number 2 in the AFC West. And I think a good challenge for him would be surpass Dan for that spot. I think he only finished a game behind him. So it's not out of the question. It's going to be tough, though. But I would say take that AFC West spot.
Yeah, for sure. And I think he's another guy who could, really use a playoff win. I don't know that does he have one this season, this cycle?
Yes, he beat Paulie.
That's right. He did beat Paulie. So yeah, okay, maybe 2, but yeah, I think the bigger challenge is that division title. Yep. It's difficult. It's going to be extremely, extremely difficult, but precedent's there. He's beaten Dan before, so let's see it.
All right. So next up is we've got the Rams. RD
I can't look at this team. I'm going to get PTSD.
Fresh off his Super Bowl loss. This one, I know he complains about pass rush, but he's sitting over there in Donald, so you can't really complain about that. He could use a defensive tackle though, and maybe a linebacker, middle linebacker too. So I think if I'm RD, I am going to go defense. Clearly, the offense is not a problem. Cam Akers could run for as many yards as he wants to.
Pretty much, yep.
So yeah, I'd go defensive line or corner, maybe a linebacker.
I definitely don't think corner. I mean, yeah, maybe a third, like a slot guy, but looking at Donovan. All right, never mind. Donovan Hills kind of sucks. Westry's, I think, good. He's at least fast. Yeah, 95 speed, 78 zone. That's at least usable as a slot guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be swinging for the fences, try and see if you can hit on an ability defensive lineman.
All right. Realistically, I think he's, like I said before, kind of 1 and 1A with Dump in the AFC West or NFC West, and obviously the challenge would be win the Super Bowl again.
Yeah, challenge has got to be number 2. At this point, you've made it to 2 straight, so your expectations are not going to be anything less than that.
Yeah. All right, then we have the Ravens. Lamar Jackson, 99 overall, possibly the worst passer in the SML, which is crazy because the 2.
To be fair, at least with him, he's a 99 overall, but he does actually genuinely suck at passing in Madden.
Yeah, he's not Mahomes.
He's kind of broken. Yeah, this is not a Mahomes situation.
As far as
that said, I'll take him.
Yeah,
but
another one I would take in a heartbeat. His receivers, really good receivers. Just lost Duvernay, obviously, in the trade. Good tight end in Andrews. His line is not bad. It's one of the better ones. He is letting Jordan go, so I would say probably needs some help on the offense or defensive line, because it looks like Jordan and Thomas are going to be gone. He does have a decent 85 overall defensive tackle. His linebacker's still pretty good. His secondary is still really good. So I would go defensive line if I was NYT.
Yeah.
Realistically, I think he's the number 2 spot in the AFC North, and then his challenge would be same thing: win a playoff game. I think you could get there, but go ahead and win one.
Win your division, win a playoff game.
Yeah. All right. Next up is Washington. Washington with QP. He could probably use a corner. He's got Fuller, who's 300 years old. His secondary could really use help. The safety spot, both of those safety spots, guys under 80. He's got 2 really good middle linebackers that he drafted, and then he's got Kendricks there. He's letting walk this year, so he could
maybe I'll bring him back for a final run.
There you go. He could add an outside linebacker. He needs to add a defensive tackle. He's got no one there. But he could play Ioannidis there. He could play Williams there, and then put Edmonds and Young.
I think he does play Williams there. I think he's just superstar, so he can't move
him. Not bad there. I would add secondary. Just kind of like future with Ruggs. You could add a second receiver, but let's be real, he's just out there to run routes. Realistically, top spot in the NFC East, and I would say he needs to get over that hump and get to a Super Bowl as a challenge.
Yeah, I would agree. I think he definitely is talented enough to represent the NFC in a bowl. He's talented enough to win one. I'm very high praise for Q. So that's what I would be looking for.
All right, Saints and Colt. Colt's got this quarterback, Joe Green. He's normal dev. I guess he likes him because he's got 91 speed.
He is fast as cheeks.
Yeah, so that's the guy he's using. Running back, he's got Kamara. Kamara obviously still really good. He's got decent receivers. And then he's got Hurst, who Hurst actually didn't dev very much for as much as he got used the last season or two.
He's just old.
Yeah. If I was him, I mean, his defensive line, he's got Davenport 81. He's got Chazen up to an 87. Pass committed and unfakeable for his abilities. So no edge threat. Rankins at defense.
Hard to get it. I'm not even sure if Madden gives that to anybody else. Like, I don't know that you can get edge threat on
I don't think we've seen it on anybody else.
Yeah.
Stockton, his his middle linebacker, pretty good 84. Enzalone 87. His secondary, he's got Lattimore, and then it's high 70s, mid 70s after that. And safeties are pretty good.
Use some supporting corners.
If I was Colt, I would probably get the best tight end I could, because he does love to use Hurst, and he would be really dangerous with him if Hurst was any good. So I think that would be my suggestion. You know what? If you've got an offense that kind of works, just beef it up and just keep going with that. So I would get a tight end. Realistically, I think he's the second team in the NFC South. And I would say same for him that I've said for a couple teams is just lock up that 7 seed and get a playoff berth.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. There's a couple that really bounce around on that bubble that could really go either way. So for those guys, it's got to be, establish your spot, take your playoff spot, and see what happens when you get in the game.
Yep. Then we've got Tiny. So he's letting he's letting Carr walk. He's going to draft a quarterback. I don't really get it, but he's got Carson and Chisholm, this running back that he got already up to superstar. He's got balance beam and one more dev point, which looks like it'll come the next time he trains him. We'll see what that one is, but at least he didn't get two endurance ones. Receivers, not bad. Tight end, he could probably use a better one. Nobody cares about offensive line. His defensive line, not very good. Defensive tackles, okay. He got Halliburton on the left side. Middle linebacker, kind of weak. Okereke on the right side. Secondary is not bad, but old. His top three guys are 30, 30, and 29. Maybe they make it through the rest of the cycle.
It has to be a defensive draft.
Yeah. I would go with a corner or something on the defensive line if I had that number 2 pick, but it looks like he's going to go quarterback, and best of luck. I think fourth in the NFC West is pretty obvious, realistic expectation because the three teams above him.
I don't know. There's even a path out of there.
No. I would say, and I know I've tried to make realistic goals, so I was gonna say, try not to throw more interceptions than touchdowns. But he's about to have a rookie quarterback.
He's chucking.
Yeah, so I would say try to win 3 games. I think 3 might be pushing it.
This is literally this season and next season. He got so screwed with his division.
Yeah.
This to me would be time to just like nail down my Madden philosophy. Like, what is it that I want to do? What is it that I like doing in Madden? What passing concepts do I like to run? Do I like, specific run plays? Like, I would just be trying literally anything, throw anything at the wall, see what sticks, and see if you can build yourself some kind of scheme or identity going into Madden 22. And that 21 is going to be a wash.
That would be great if you could count on EA to make it similar, but with EA and not knowing what's going to be overpowered next cycle, that may be wasted time.
It might be wasted time, but also like a lot of things will stay the same. Like realistically, they copy and paste the game and they change a couple things. I do think that they're going to be on more of a every 2-year cycle for really changing things. So next year we might actually get a somewhat different feeling game than this one, but still like things stay the same. Like as long as you can even start to build some concepts in the passing game that you are at least comfortable with, and you can start building yourself going through progressions and reads, like that's going to carry over. It's the same skill. It will just change concepts depending on what's more OP than others.
Yeah.
But just developing the skill is going to be important enough, considering he throws about 67 interceptions a season.
Yeah, I think for Tiny, it all comes down to what do you want for the rest of the cycle? Do you want to just, maybe he just wants to draft a quarterback because he thinks it'll be fun to develop a new quarterback and do something like that, which I can totally see because I'm probably going to do something similar myself, especially if I can't find somebody to take Josh Allen. But if you're trying to compete, you're in a division that's got 3 2,000-yard rushers. Every single starting running back in that division has run for 2,000 yards.
That's so miserable.
And some have done it twice.
I straight up think that I would have retired from Madden if I was.
Yeah. So the fact that you trade up to get the number 2 pick and you're not going to address that big hole in your defensive line, then you just got to be just playing just because you think it's going to be fun to develop a quarterback, because it's going to be not much fun when they're running through that line.
Yeah.
So next up, the second of the Tennessee brothers, KJ and the Steelers. KJ's team...
I forgot they were brothers until you said that.
Or they're not brothers, I guess. Brother-in-laws. The Tennessee brothers.
Close enough.
Yeah. So he's got a superstar or X-Factor. X-Factor quarterback. He's got a superstar running back, which his abilities are balance beam and yet to be discovered. His receivers could probably use some work. He's got Deontay Johnson, 85, and then it's mid-70s.
Yeah, he could use receivers, that's for sure.
He's got 2 tight ends, Ebron and Disley, not terrible, both over 80. He has offensive linemen. Youngblood, a good left end. Morrison, a decent right end. His defensive tackles, Reese and Green, both mid to upper 70s. He's got TJ Watt. He's got Devin Bush, who's 95, and I think Devin Bush is superstar. Yes, he is superstar.
He should be at least superstar, yeah.
Tip drill and short route KO. What does Watt
Not the best, but usable.
Watt's X Factor, and he's got strip specialist, no outsiders, and selfless for his X Factor. He's got Shaq Barrett still for another year on the right side. And even behind him, he's got a 72 and the 79 is going to walk, but a 72 overall guy. His secondary, he could probably use another guy. His top guy is an 82 overall. But Minkah Fitzpatrick killed it last year. and then Terrell Edmonds as well. I would probably go receiver if I was KJ here, or maybe I would just keep beefing up that defense and go with a corner.
Yeah,
it depends. KJ, I think, in order to win, needs to lean on the run game, so I would probably go with a corner, shore up the defense, use your run game to play, quick games, few possessions to keep them close, and then hope your defense can get a stop with stud corners and a beefed up secondary. Realistically, 4th place in the AFC North. I still think there's a gap between him and Two-Step.
I agree.
Especially Two-Step's team talent wise is better, I think.
Yeah.
And then I think for KJ, I think an expectation is probably a challenge. 5 wins, 6 wins, something like that. I think he's been in enough close games that if he could just kind of be on the other end of those close games, that 5 or 6 is doable, but it would mean, winning a lot of those 50-50 games.
Yeah, for sure. I would say split with each team in your division. I would like to see you take a game from each team, make it hell for them. It's already going to be hard enough to win that division as it is.
I like it.
So, that's one of those, it's kind of just like those moral victory things. Like, at least if you can start taking games away from your division mates, it's kind of nice to win those rivalries. At least make it difficult for them.
All right, then we have
just winning 4 rando games.
We have the Texans. Really not a bad team. He's got $72 million in cap space going into this offseason. He's got Deshaun Watson.
Oof.
Running back, he's kind of ran with Branch and Geis. I would probably upgrade a running back. He's got Juju. He's letting Fuller walk. He's got N'Keal Harry, McCauley, some decent, middle 70s, upper 70s receivers. Yep. Goddard at tight end. He has an offensive line. Decent defense. A couple young guys on there that played really well as young guys. Looking at his team, he needs a corner. He's got nobody over 80.
Yeah.
So I would get a corner and probably running back. Realistic, probably still number 4 in the AFC South. But I think my challenge would be to jump up above Coop. I think that's realistic. It hasn't been something he's been able to do lately. But he did have a playoff appearance in the first cycle, or the first season of the cycle. So
did he really?
Yeah, he snuck in as that 7 seed.
Wow, I totally forgot about that.
So I would say, jump up above Coop in the AFC South would be a challenge.
Yeah, I think the bottom of the AFC has gotten better since that season 1. So I think that playoff spot might be a little out of range, but yeah, I could see you jump above Coop. Just don't finish last.
All right, and our last team before we get to your team is going to be the Titans. Titans, he's got Gardner Minshew at quarterback, but it sounds like he's going to cut him. He's going to take a $6.5 million cap penalty out of his already only $16.9 million in cap space to pick up Carson Wentz. And actually, he may have to dump something else. I'm not sure how that cap money is going to work out because Carson Wentz.
I think Klink will take most of it.
What's that?
I think Klink will take most of it in that trade.
From the looks of it,
maybe not.
It looks like it's an even split of $18.7 million.
Never mind then.
So if it's he takes a $37.4 million cap hit minus the $18.7 million cap penalty, the savings is 18.7. So I think that's what Coop is going to eat is 18.7.
He'll save 12 by cutting Minshew, it looks like.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm looking at the wrong thing. He's going to save 12 by cutting Minshew. So
yeah,
he'll be in there. He's not going to have much money to do much else, it looks like.
Right.
So he'll have about $8 million, and I don't know how many he's got on his roster right now, but he needs to get to 53 at least. So if it's like my team, he's going to be well below 53 before free agency. Looks like he's only losing 5 guys though, so maybe he'll be okay. If I'm Coop, I know he wants to go defense. He's contacted me about Khalil Mack. I don't know why. He's got Givens, he's got Payne, he's got Simmons Jr. I suppose he could play Mack at an outside linebacker spot and make his defense even better. So maybe I would do that. Go for an outside linebacker in the draft, although I don't think he's got a pick in the first round.
Oof.
Realistically, I think he's third in the AFC South. I think for a challenge, because he hasn't done it the last couple seasons, would be split with each of myself and Prime.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, I think it could be possible he could get a playoff spot if he could kind of become a little more consistent.
Yeah. Yep. I would agree with that.
All right. And the last team is the Vikings, and I'll let you just go through this because you know your team better than anybody else, other than maybe Dan.
I think Dan might know my team better than me. He studies it at night and my pursuit angles. Yeah, I mean, offense is going to be set. We've got Spencer Norton. I'll have him the rest of the cycle. Dalvin Cook hasn't regressed a point yet, so he's going to be doing his thing again. Receivers, very good. Jefferson is a beast. Shenault, perfect for what I need him to do. Ridley, 2 points away from his second superstar ability. So, hoping that I get something good there. I got Bruiser with the first one, which is kind of useless. Irv Smith, if anybody wants a tight end, willing to trade. Offensive line, pointless. Defensive ends, they have superstars. They don't have good abilities.
Yeah.
So that kind of hurts me, but they show out every now and then. Frank Clark has no outsiders, which is helpful. He's very good against the run. And then he gets hurt in the playoffs for me and I lose, so that hurt. Defensive tackle I could use, although spoiler alert, something's in the works. No thanks to SML Schefter. Linebackers could improve. I got Chuck Long to develop a little bit last year. Hopefully I can get like a superstar bump or something with him. Secondary corners, very good. Gladney, Hughes, Hill, Dantzler, all of them very, very solid. Do exactly what I need him to do. John Harper was a guy I drafted in season 1 that I didn't think was ever going to be anything. And I've just devved him like crazy, and now he's actually pretty solid. Harrison Smith retiring on me really hurt. I used Harriet at strong safety for my sub, but his zone just is not that good to where I would be confident leaving him out there on his own. So could use a safety. That's probably what I'll be looking at in the draft or trying to trade for one. We'll see. But, also looking at defensive tackle, which should have some big news soon. And then obviously for myself, I plan on winning the division, and hopefully I'll see you in the Super Bowl.
All right. Yeah, I don't think anybody disagrees with that. And with that, we have finished all the teams. We're back at the Bears. So that's going to put us just over an hour and a half. So we made up for those short episodes earlier. So everybody gets their heat check hour and a half, and everybody will watch their 4 minutes of their team, and that'll be about it.
And that's it. Nothing else.
Yeah. So I don't have anything else. I don't know if you do.
I don't either.
All right.
Good to go.
If that's the case, then this has been Heat Check, and we will see you guys next week since it's not going to be a holiday. All right.
And good luck in the draft and in UFA. Hopefully I snipe all of you.
That's right.
Let me get a heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat. Can I get a heat check, 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 heat check. Let me get a heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check.